Well. What is up, guys? Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to our second edition of the Hill Valley AV Club. Good to see ya. Very excited to see you guys again. Welcome back to the theater. Hope everyone is doing well. Our first episode was good. Learned a little bit. Learned some stuff. Learned some things that hopefully we will improve on for sure. Ideally, hopefully, we'll get a little bit better as we go along. But good to see you guys. Good to see you. Yes, Pods is here. What's up, guys? Good to see you. Welcome. If it's your first time here, this is the second of what is going to be a monthly show that we do here on my channel. If it is your first time here, my name is Captain McFly, or if you're watching this later, my name is Captain McFly. You can find me at twitch.tv/Captain McFly. You'll find me there. But what we do here is we pick a movie and then go watch it on your own, and then we get together and discuss it as a group, and then also talk about, TV shows, other movies, things that we've been watching. A little bit about myself. I work in the television industry. I'm a camera operator, technical director, and do a little bit of little odds and ends here and there, but I love movies. I worked at a movie theater for a little bit when I went back to school to change my career and get into it, and I wanted to find a way to bring another passion of mine to my community, but also try to, find other people that love movies and TV as well, not just games, and to kind of use Twitch as a live format for that. And so I also thought it'd be kind of a cool way too to kind of, expand our horizons as well for the channel. So the plan is we're going to first start off talking about things that we've been watching from last month to this month. And that could be anything from documentaries to TV shows to other movies, whether you've seen them before or not. And then we'll move into our main discussion, which is Thor Ragnarok. So that'll be the main thing we do today. And we're going to go ahead and get our guests here introduced because we've got two people joining us this month. Very awesome people. So first off, just like I was saying, my name is Captain McFly. And then I'm also joined by...
Hello.
Hey, so yeah, we're joined
There's my cue. Yeah, I'm SpartanGod56, y'all. Good friends with my man Cap over here. Hi.
Yeah, Spartan's a good dude. We met at Guardian Con this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago, though. I feel like it was some time ago, but yeah, it's this year, apparently.
I know, it's crazy, right? And one of the things that I found out very quickly is that it was somewhere like at one of like the first meetup bars or something outside of the con. And
correct.
I quickly found out that you're a bit of a movie buff.
Yes, I would say so myself. I think our first conversations that we were talking about, one of the movies that we were kind of yapping on about was actually one of the inspirations for your themes, the whole McFly thing, Back to the Future and everything. And right away I saw his eyes light up. I call him Cap, by the way, instead of the whole Captain McFly. But yeah, Cap's eyes lit right up. We started talking about all the wonders of the Back to the Future series, and right away we knew we were going to be good friends right after that.
Yeah, no joke. Seriously, like the moment that we started just nerding out about Back to the Future and just other movies, I knew it's like, I like this guy.
Yeah.
I like this guy. This guy's a good dude. And we're also joined by one of our subs and one of our good friends in our community, Xombigirl. Zombie, are you there? Did we lose you? Uh-oh.
All right. She was here.
Hello.
There she is.
Ah, there she is. There's Zombie.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of issues with trying to figure out when my cue is. But hi, my name's Xombigirl. I've been here for, I don't know, maybe 5 months, I think.
Oh, you've been here longer than that.
I love this place. Is the greatest streamer ever.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Zombie.
Just the small things. He's the first streamer I ever subscribed to, and he's got one of the best communities I've ever seen, and I love it here.
Well, thank you so much, Zombie. And one of the things that we do here is, or at least that we're doing with this show, is for subs, is one of the perks I want to kind of give for them is like, hey, you know, if you would like to be on the show, if you're able to be on, if you're able to see the film on your own, you know, as a perk, you can join in on the roundtable discussion live with us here on Twitch, which I think is kind of something that's kind of fun. It's a good way for us to get to know more people within our community, and just another, you know, benefit to your subscription, other than, you know, all the other awesome stuff and the emotes and all that good stuff. So it has been a month since our very first episode. Our first one was Back to the Future, which is, I think, the best way to kick off a movie discussion show. And we were originally going to be planning on doing one where we could do a movie that we could stream. Like, this would be like a movie you could watch either through Netflix or through Amazon or through Hulu, just for ease of accessibility, because, you know, going to the movies can be expensive. Going to the movies can be a little expensive. And this way, the barrier to entry is a little bit lower, but I went and saw Thor Ragnarok with my my newborn son and my wife, and after I left, I was like, I really want to talk about this one really bad. And so I messaged Spartan and Zombie. I was like, hey, are you guys cool with maybe doing this one? And thankfully, they both said yes, and they were able to get out and see it on what I would consider short notice. So thank you guys for accommodating you know, an audible on my part.
Oh, it was no part at all. I mean, I'm a big Marvel DC fan, and going to see that movie, it was on my calendar, man. It was I was ready to go. I saw it on Thursday instead of Friday when it came out, just like I saw the new Justice League movie Thursday instead of Friday. So I'm one of those kind of guys where I can't not wait till Friday. I watch it Thursday night. Yeah, so pretty excited about those kind of movies for sure.
I'm a huge Marvel fan. Marvel's like a pantheon. I love it. It's the best thing in the world. So I was always going to see this movie. There was no question.
Yeah.
I mean, I was as well. I mean, kind of fun fact about my family, and I guess my wife, Mrs. McFly. We are definitely a Marvel house, first and foremost. I like DC. I like Batman. I grew up with Batman. But my big thing is that I was so happy to marry a wife that wanted to walk down to a song from the original Thor soundtrack when we got married. So if you're not familiar with the track, you guys can look up Can You See Jane? And there's a violin solo that is so beautiful, so gorgeous. And oh my gosh, it's so good. And I've also got a pretty sweet, I collect some screen print posters occasionally, some like movie ones. I've got a pretty sweet Thor poster on the wall done by Martin Anson. Fantastic artist. It's actually the Avengers series of the Thor poster, so it's actually pretty rad. If you don't know what it is, Google it. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome and
nice.
Shiny. Yeah. But I was definitely going to see this movie no matter what as well. But before we kind of dive in a little deep into our discussion about Thor Ragnarok, what have you guys been watching lately? You know, movies, TV. You know, what's kind of caught your eye in between? Zombie, we'll start with you. Oh, okay. So I guess Zombie's having a hard time hearing me through Discord, I guess, for some reason. So she's, I guess,
I've been watching Punisher. I just finally finished that today. I'm having a hard time hearing, but Punisher has been like what I've been into for the past like 3 days. My husband and I we finished it today, and I'm just gonna say, anybody that's not caught up, just beware of the end of episode 12.
Oh, that doesn't sound too good. I'm actually scared now to finish watching it.
Just the end of episode 12 is.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we've started to watch it, and we are.
And then
I think we've
been rewatching Doctor Who because it's like one of my favorite shows of all time. Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been watching for the past few weeks.
Nice. How about you, Spartan? What's been on your doc?
You know what? Before the Hill Valley AV Club kicked off, Zombie and I were actually discussing Punisher because that's something that we're both watching together. And I believe I spoke to you about it slightly. And yeah, I'm about halfway through with Punisher, and that's actually the one I'm watching recently as well. So Zombie and I have that in common. The character Punisher, who's played by John Bernthal, he's an American actor. He's brilliant, man. The guy, I feel like the guy really, like, he has so much emotion in his character, and it just comes out through the screen. You can feel it, when you're watching the show. John Bernthal really encompasses rage, like, really well, and he is a tremendous actor. He's been great in a few. He's a very notable actor. I'm sure you guys have seen Walking Dead. He was one of the characters. Spoiler alert! If you guys have not, watched Walking Dead, he only lasts a few seasons, and he's actually one of my favorite characters in the series. And he was brilliant in there too. Even to this day, I'll watch Walking Dead and be like, Rick is Shane now. Like the Shane that was whatever. I don't want to say too much, but whatever happened to Shane at the beginning was an injustice, because Rick is the person that Shane was at the beginning that they had to get rid of. So. Right. And for me, it's like he's really good at getting a character, making it come to life, and then you really like falling in love with that character. I think it's very important for viewers to actually care about a character, their welfare, their what's going on with their storyline. When they speak, people will listen because they actually care about that character. And I think he's really, really, really good at that. He's a very superior actor. I feel like the show Punisher, the pace is so right on. It's a slow, steady pace that builds a beautiful picture of the life of Punisher. And I think their pace is great. It's a simple plot. And one of my favorite aspects of the show so far is it starts off with a bang. I love movies. I love TV shows. Anything that starts off with a bang too. It's actually a really good technique in writing. Like if you can capture their attention right at the beginning, you'll keep it. And they did that really well with Punisher. Just like 007 series with James Bond and everybody. Right at the beginning, they capture you and you want to continue watching. I love that about Punisher. So it's got me. I cannot wait to watch the next episode. And I'm about 6 episodes in, so pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Mrs. McFly and I, we've been binging Punisher as well. And Mrs. McFly hated Shane on Walking Dead, and so she had because of the right, yeah, I mean because of the character. It's one of those things where I understand, but because he becomes a guy that you feel for, like you understand what he's feeling, you understand why he's making the decisions he's making, but at the same time, it's like, dude, back off. But he did such a great job, though. He did such a great job with it. And he also did a fantastic job in, I don't know if you've seen Fury, a very similar role.
Oh, he was phenomenal in Fury.
In Fury as well. Yeah, he was great.
He was. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. And so, I mean, John Bernthal is a great actor. And I'll second what you were saying too, Spartan, that if John Bernthal does not get an Emmy nod, it will be a grave injustice to what has been a fantastic performance of a person showing you PTSD, having stuff drilled into your head. And sometimes those guys, I mean, I don't speak from personal experience. I have not served. But, the way that it's been described to me and, through my studies in college as a psych major, I was going to be a therapist before I took a hard right and chose a different path. But PTSD is a real thing, and it could be a difficult thing to show. And I think John Bernthal has done a fantastic job of showing you how somebody can just be so robotic, automatic, and just so efficient in his movements. I mean, it's fantastic action. It's a great show. And this kind of leads me into kind of how I'm feeling about this season of Walking Dead right now. I'm a little sad. I'm a little disheartened
Yeah, I'm about 2 episodes behind right now. I literally just got rid of my cable because it was one of those things where after a year, all your little deals that you got just go out the window and you're charged full price for everything. So
right, all of a sudden it's like
bill,
you went from $40 to now $300. Like what?
That almost, bro. Like I'm looking at a $200 bill.
Gross.
And it's just me living in this house, by myself. And I'm like, this is insane. So I'm gonna have to get rid of my cable for a little bit. I keep the quality internet. I even upgraded my internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having my mom right now DVR record The Walking Dead. So
shout out to Spartan's mom, GG's mom of the year.
She's excited about it because she's like, oh, now there's more reasons for you to come and visit me. I'm just like, oh my god, you got to go there.
There you go, man. Mom's got to do what mom's got to do. Mom's got to get the kids home somehow, not just for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
It's so awful because I'll go on YouTube and I follow so many people on YouTube, primarily gamers and content creators and stuff like that.
Right.
And dude, they'll be. I understand that they try not to do spoilers, but there'll be like a picture, like the picture of what their video is going to be about, and then I'll it's like talking about what just happened the night before on The Walking Dead. So I'll see the picture and I'm like, oh my god, why is his face covered in blood? Like what just happened yesterday? And I have to dip and dodge between posts and all kinds of stuff because people are constantly putting spoilers out there. But yeah, dude, it's top of the priority list to get those two watched so I can finish the season, man.
I'm so far behind in Walking Dead. I've given up.
No.
Well, I mean,
you have to finish.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's been going this season, like we're only about a week behind, and we're in a similar boat too. We've cut cable, so whenever we buy TV shows or to be able to watch shows, we have to buy them. We buy them a la carte, and so we're like, well, Walking Dead's been a show we've enjoyed, and so we picked it up again for this season. And a couple episodes in, it's like, wow, we're kind of slumming right now a little bit in terms of just action. And, to me, somebody that, I like to pay attention to audio and just certain things. And, I understand how firearms work. I am a bit of an enthusiast personally. And when I see just certain things just not happening, and like if there's no shell casings coming out, or if there's no recoil, or just like there's things that just happen, and it's like,
or this, yo, Cap, how about this? How about like the old Metal Gear Solid Snake with the unlimited ammo bandana?
I know, right?
All these cats running around with clips with no end, just going that town with AK-47s, which by the way, if you were to fire AK or M4 for more than a few seconds, you'd completely run your clip. And these dudes are sitting there spamming.
I know, and they're just going and going.
Pulling my hair out, like, stop it.
So the worst one for me shows a Glock or something that doesn't have a hammer, and it makes the noise of a hammer cocking.
Yes, or like when they're taking the safety off, and it's like,
I hate that. So
it's like there's that.
Have a safety.
That's not there.
What are you doing?
I know.
Oh my God.
It happens all the time. And this season too, like this to me was a big offender, because to me it's like, all right, whoever's doing audio just got lazy and probably just went to the audio bin and was like, that looks like a rifle sound 1, rifle sound 2, rifle sound 3, just drag and drop. Because when there's sound guns and just loud noises sound different inside versus outside, and you just it just sounds different. It does, there's different sound reflections and things like that. And when somebody's outside, the weapon should not be sounding like it was fired inside in a range or inside a big warehouse.
Yes,
it's outside. Yes. And it's also the biggest offender for me as well is when you're showing me a cool angle shot, so like a low angle that's kind of tight, and you're showing like the weapon being like an AR-15 being shot, and you're showing me where the ejection port is, and I'm not seeing anything come out of that ejection port, but I'm seeing the muzzle flash.
So terrible.
It's like, guys, I know you wanted to make the Tiger look awesome, but at the same time, don't skimp on those things, at least for the close-ups. I mean, if you're going to be doing a close-up shot, like a hero shot, I mean, come on. That's just lazy. It's lazy. And
I think it's awesome that you notice these things because of the industry that you're in. Like you're talking about stuff, a lot of stuff that you've said that I hadn't even noticed at all. Like the real subtle things, like
Mhm.
Herschel on the farm back in, I believe, season 2 or 3, where he's going to town with a shotgun for about maybe 15 minutes and never reloads once.
Yeah, he's just like "Kush, kush, kush."
Yeah,
He's just cycling that shotgun. It's like, dude, he's maybe got 5.
hundreds of rounds.
Maybe
he was shooting.
yeah, realistically, it's like he's got at most 5 if he's got the extended tube. There's no way he could go 10 times without going, oh,
nailing
man Herschel.
cats.
Oh my
Headshots galore. I mean, those are the things that I noticed. But yeah, dude, that's pretty interesting that you notice all that extra stuff.
Sure. And then you go to a show like Punisher where you could tell they paid attention in the details, like especially with firearms and tactical training. Like each actor, whether they are just someone that works for Homeland Security or even just the NYPD, to the people like John Bernthal, who's playing the Punisher, a very well-trained character, as Frank Castle, you could see that effort was put in here to make the character fill the role. And to the nth degree, like every movement makes sense. There are things coming out of the weapons as they're firing them. They're cycling it properly and handling it properly. Budget was clearly allocated to make that effect happen and to sell it. And if you're, so like in Walking Dead, if you're current, it's a point now where zombies aren't as much the threat anymore. People are kind of the threat now, and people are warring with each other. And this isn't much of a spoiler, but there's a lot more guns involved. And so if you're going to be showing a lot more guns, then maybe be ready to, make it look like that they belong and are actually functioning in the world a little bit.
How do you guys feel about the like, okay, for instance, in The Punisher, and I first saw this in the movie Rambo with Sylvester Stallone, the most recent one. When people get shot, instead of them using props like a small explosion, like a tiny one, and then a bullet hole, and then you see blood splat. I'm sure there's a technical name for that you know of, Cap, but now they use like primarily 100% CG, and I feel like it looks cool, but it's very apparent. I feel like it stands out only because when lighting comes into effect, it's a slightly different color than what the lighting should make it look like,
Right, and I think a lot of that is budget. Practical is not cheap. It takes a lot of extra effort to make it there and to have makeup do it. For me, CG, some of the best examples, Jurassic Park to me is one of the best examples of CG because they used it to sell a little bit more of something that was already there. Go practical where you can and use CG and digital effects to...
It's why Jurassic Park still stands up.
Exactly. There's still a few scenes, like the big brontosaurus is looking a little, long in the tooth, but the majority of it, though, still looks great. You would think those dinosaurs existed. You would think they were actually walking around, because for some scenes, they legitimately are. They're puppeted and, being manned, and then for the extra scenes, or extra little bits, they use CG just to give you that extra little bit, to give you that little more suspension of disbelief. Right. And, a good example, though, of CG, with blood and stuff, Breaking Bad. A lot of the bruises and stuff, like on Walter White's faces, or like if they have like a bloodshot eye or bruises under their skin, 90% of that is CG and was not practical. That was done after the fact in post. And so, which is pretty amazing. So it can be done, but just don't go over the top. But but I hear you, though. It's one of those things where you start to see it more and more. A lot of it is budgetary. It's cheaper. It's a little bit quicker. But at the same time, if there's not enough time to put in to, sell it more, and there's certain things you could do with lighting or certain things to kind of sell the moment or sell the effect, or just don't linger on it too much. There's ways to get around it, but I do agree. It is a trend that's happening a lot more with CG just being more efficient, but at the same time, you and most people are able to tell the difference between good CG and bad CG if you watch a lot of movies. Most people maybe don't care, maybe don't know, but to me, it stands out, and I'm sure it does for you too. Like if it looks like it was pretty weak sauce or pretty, and even then, like they're not trying to be lazy, but you could tell if a post house had more time or had more budget. You can tell the difference because you don't notice, or you don't have that moment to even think about it because it's seamless. It's like an example of a good edit. A good and well edited film or TV show, you don't even think about it.
You're right.
If you had time to think like, wow, that was weird. That was edited weird. It's a bad edit.
Right. Kind of like. I think the proof is in the pudding, and I believe that what encompasses the most as of recent is Mr. Caviezel, Superman. I'm sure everyone has heard of what's going on with that, with his little stash. I'm sure people have heard of that as of late.
I've heard some rumblings about it, so tell me about it.
Oh, it's a big deal. I can see you're very meticulous with the details in CG and all, and editing and all this stuff, which is great. I'm not surprised. But oh my God, it's going to send out like an elephant in the room for you, Cap. I hope you can get past it when watching Justice League.
Oh boy,
because it's one of those things, and it's kind of a big deal online right now. It's like, I guess the deal with it is during the original shoot. With Snyder, he was shaved. He's a clean cut looking dude, great looking dude, physique like a champ.
Yeah,
and clean shaven as Superman is, and when they went to go and do a lot of reshoots with the sub and director, he was under contract. I forget what studios. I want to say Warner Brothers. He is actually I don't know if a lot of people know, he's the new villain in the new Mission Impossible movie that's going to be coming out next year.
So he had to rock the stash for that role.
He could not via contract cut the stash, so they had to digitally remove every stash in every scene that he did a reshoot in.
Oh my gosh,
smokes, bro!
Terrible.
It's so bad. Oh,
oh no!
It's to the point, Kat, where you're watching, and it's so distracting that you can't help but think, hold on, that doesn't even look like Caviezel at all.
That makes me sad.
It's a different man.
That saddens me.
It's a trip.
Oh my gosh!
Has anybody
just kept CG stash?
Has anybody in chat seen what we're talking about here? I mean,
it seems like a few people have. Like, goodness gracious, man! Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, that saddens me.
Yeah, Captain Stillbeard knows what I'm talking about. Hey, and real quick, I just saw Cap is here. The other Cap, my other buddy that I call Cap as well, Captain Stillbeard. Shout out to a lot of people in my community that are here right now. Thank you guys for coming on over and supporting my man McFly over here. And please, guys, if you're not following him, give him a follow, guys. He's a top tier dude, top tier streamer, and he's a good friend. And our friendship is just going to continue to grow, guys. So if you're not following him already, hit that follow button, subscribe to the man, support him. He's a innovator, man. This whole thing, the AV Club is a good thing. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Well, thank you so much, dude. Much love, and guys, we'll drop some links and stuff for everybody at the end as well, so that way everyone can get a chance to find everybody on the big wide internet. But thank you so much, dude. Good words. Appreciate it, and thank you for being a part of it as well. I appreciate it. So we're gonna go ahead and dive into our discussion of Thor Ragnarok. But to give everyone a bit of a refresher, we'll watch a little bit of the trailer to kind of prime everybody up. Just a sec. So
Nice.
let me get this queued up here real quick. And boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. All right, here we go.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you. Where are we? You have no idea. Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, I've missed this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won.
All right, that's from Thor, the Dark World, or not Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, not Thor the Dark World. One of the newest installment in the Marvel series, directed by Taika Waititi, starring Chris Hemsworth, Tom Hiddleston, Kate Blanchett, and Mark Ruffalo. Fantastic movie. My initial impressions are I liked it a lot. I liked it a whole bunch.
Yeah.
A whole bunch. Like truly like I have a film diary. It's called letterboxd.com. So if people aren't aware of it, it's letterboxd.com. It's a cool way to kind of keep track of all the movies that you watch. You can rate them, you can make lists of stuff, but a list that I have going that I've been keeping for a little while is I rank the Marvel films. And Thor Ragnarok has breached my my top 5 and might even be one of my top 3 or 4 of all the Marvel films. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so the summary here is, imprisoned, the almighty Thor finds himself in a lethal gladiatorial contest against the Hulk, his former ally. Thor must fight for survival and race against time to prevent the all-powerful Hela from destroying his home and the Asgardian civilization. That's the IMDb plot summary. But yeah, guys, so what did you guys think? Zombie, what did you think of Thor Ragnarok?
Well, I would like to say that when you were listing the people that star in it, you forgot one important name. You forgot Jeff Goldblum.
The gem of this movie. He was left out intentionally.
That man was amazing.
No joke.
I absolutely loved this movie. I thought Taika Waititi did an amazing job, both as the director and as Korg. Like, Korg was like the surprise, like, oh my god, every time he opens his mouth, I'm gonna laugh.
It was so good. Like, oh yeah, man, what's up, bro? Yeah, bro. Oh, he's dead.
Something.
Nope, another
Dude,
Doug.
You sound exactly like him right now.
It's so good.
Oh man.
But I thought it was fantastic. Like, I was a little bit let down with Thor Dark World. Like, the Dark World, like, it was okay, but it wasn't like more comedic and more in the veins of Guardians of the Galaxy, which are my favorite Marvel movies. Can't technically count Deadpool because it's not made by Marvel, but in the MCU, the Guardians movies are my favorite, and this kind of followed more along those lines, and I think that's why I loved it so much, because it was just flat out hysterical.
Agreed. Yeah, it brought so much color and fun, and I think I tweeted it out like after I saw it. But you could, if you want to know what Marvel's voice is and kind of what their cinematic universe that they've been building is all about, or at least their current trend, this is a prime example of the direction that Marvel is going in. You know, they want to have fun, they want to have a lot of color, a little bit of seriousness, and a little bit of action, but lots of fun at the same time. And I agree. This was such a great film. And Taika is a fantastic director as well. You know, one of my favorite movies of last year, The Hunt for Wilder People. Fantastic movie starring Sam Neill. Really, really, really awesome, fun indie movie about a misfit kid that thinks he's a hip hop star and is an orphan and ends up going to live in the bush in New Zealand. And fakes his own death because he wants to get away, and things kind of go crazy from there. Super worth checking out. But yeah, it's another film directed by Taika, who's also a Kiwi. And it was kind of fun to see the amount of New Zealand actors present in this film. You know, Taika himself voicing a character as well, but also Carl Urban coming in as Scourge. Another famous Kiwi who's done a lot of sci-fi films. I think he does a great job as Scourge, the conflicted character who kind of, wants to belong, but at the same time wants to have a higher self-importance within Asgard, and sees an opportunity with Hela. And kind of takes it, but even then, it's kind of, he does a great job of eventually getting to that point of no return or leap or get off, poop or get off the pot, where you decide, do you want to keep going down this road, or there is still time to redeem yourself if you decide to go back? Which I thought was great. But then also, what's her name? Tessa Thompson, another Kiwi. And then So it's always it was good for him, and I think it's awesome that he brought along, people from his country, from New Zealand, to give them a bit more of a spotlight. Not only as a New Zealand director, but also showing off some New Zealand actors who are quite talented.
Nice.
And then, What We Do in the Shadows, another fun film as well, also directed by Taika.
That's a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. Really worth it. One of the things I also loved in this movie as well was getting a chance to see Heimdall, played by Idris Elba, get some serious screen time.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Like,
happy about that.
Right? Like, just swinging that claymore around with that big old sword, and just like really, being kind of like the Robin Hood almost of Asgard, but also kind of, running this underground railroad of helping people get out of Asgard and find safety, and just trying to go and save as many people as he can. And, a character that really,
they need to use him so much more. I'm glad, like you said, they expanded his character. I'm actually hoping. I mean, look, he's a great actor. I love Marvel and everything, but man, do I want him to come over to DC and play a Green Lantern character. My God, I think he would be amazing in that.
I would watch that Green Lantern movie.
Yes.
If he was it. I've heard I heard talks like they were maybe looking at eventually rebooting James Bond once Daniel Craig wraps up, and maybe going with an African style Bond. And I think Elba was on the short list, but he may be too old by the time he gets there. I don't know, but I think he'd be a fantastic Bond.
Oh, he cleans up nice. That man is so slick and cool. He'd be wonderful. He has the British accent already. So yeah, he'd be wonderful. Absolutely.
Agreed. And then also too, it was another movie where we had Loki again, played by Tom Hiddleston, who I think, does a great job as Loki. But do we think we're kind of getting to the end of our time with Loki?
I hope so.
I mean, it's one of those things where I love him. I think he's great.
He's a phenomenal actor, and his portrayal of Loki is top tier. He's a very mischievous guy. He plays it off really well. He's a good actor. I'll just say this: change the track. Like, I feel like it's the same every single time with this guy for how many movies. Like, we understand, and they almost played into that, like with Thor actually. Thor saw his plot and then kind of twisted his plot around in on himself.
Right. He even calls it out. Like, I know what you're going to do. Like, it's whatever. I know how to deal with it.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, it's almost like a little bit of a joke even. But at the same time, he's great. He is awesome.
Yes.
He is super great. But at the same time, it's one of those things where maybe Loki kind of needs to go do his own thing for a little while.
I think he just needs to decide on what he's going to be. Like, I'm so tired of him, like, me loving him and then me being really annoyed by him and be like, dude, kill this guy already.
Right.
I understand the loyalty of brotherhood and the family, and all that stuff, but I just feel like, dude, like encompass a character, encompass a role, and then run with that, and then we can kind of continue on with the story. But I feel like he's pulling the same old, tricks and pulling the same pranks, and it's just like, all right, dude, like, who are you? I want to feel comfortable with you now, and I don't,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, Pods, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, Pods.
Well, that's good to know, Pods.
I know, right? The bar has been set, man. But yeah, another thing, I do want to spend some time with this. Jeff Goldblum as the Grand Master.
Oh, God. Oh my God.
Also known as the Gift. The Grand Gift of this movie. Goodness, man.
So funny.
Right? Like, such a talented actor, and just brings like full on 110% Goldblum in the best way. The best way. Just, the man has like impeccable timing and just does a great job with his dialogue delivery, and is just a funny dude, and just this weird eccentric guy, but somehow finds a way to like twist things to be in his favor. Like, it's like, oh, hey, this revolution happened, and you're welcome. I'm someone to overthrow, so things are good. And they're like, what? And they're like, no, we're not falling for that again.
He's just sarcastic about everything. I love it. And his voice just totally, it's like ear porn. You love his voice. He's very witty, the things he says. My favorite scene with him in it is the part where his partner kills the dude that's in the seat next to Thor. And then he goes, hold on, whoa, why'd you kill him for? Like, oh, that's not time for that. What are you doing?
Right?
That scene had me rolling in the theater.
It's like, whoa, hang on. No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's so good.
Yeah.
And how about Mark Ruffalo? We got to see Hulk again, which was great. We finally got to, that was kind of one of the things that this movie answered is, during, Civil War, we got to find out what was going on with Thor and Bruce Banner because they were not present in Civil War. Well, this is where they've been, and this is what they've been doing. They've been gone for a while.
Planet Hulk storyline.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of fun how they infuse that. I think that's a good take on it.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
Actually.
Yeah. Zombie, could you? I don't know too much about the Planet Hulk story. Are you able to kind of enlighten us a little bit?
So, in Planet Hulk, while they did bring some elements, but like in what I've seen of it, basically Hulk becomes the savior of a planet, and like he ends up ruling it. Like he basically rules a whole planet, and I think it's Sakaar. Don't quote me on that. It's been a very long time since I watched Planet Hulk or read the comic books, but yeah,
so
he
judging.
winds up like ruling an entire planet, and Meep is like the insect guy is a big character in the Planet Hulk storyline, and
Okay.
it's off that he's Hulk is a gladiator, like like he is in the movie, but he rises up the ranks and eventually overthrows the government to rule the planet.
Okay, so it is a kind of fun play on it then. Like it's oddly similar.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, it is similar to Planet Hulk then. Like, he's still the gladiator, but one thing that's kind of interesting too is, we're not like entirely sure how long I guess Hulk has been on this planet. Cuz when, Loki and Thor, get pushed out of the Bifrost beam as they're coming back to Asgard when they first encounter Hela. When we find Thor and when Loki meets, or when they see each other again for the first time, we find out that that Loki had been there for 2 weeks, whereas Thor had only been there for less than like 20 minutes or less than a few hours. And so, I mean,
I see.
Yeah, so we don't know if, Hulk had maybe been there for years, or I think it was 2 years. I think I remember them saying 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I think it was.
They did say 2 years, but again, like you said, like it was 2 years, like I guess their time, but how long is 2 years there?
Exactly. That's the one thing that I'm wondering as well. Like Thor is telling Bruce, like, hey, it's been 2 years since you've been here, but we don't know if because of going through the wormhole, maybe he's been there that much longer. And I found that to be a pretty interesting concept to kind of like mentally tackle, like, wow, Hulk could have been, as Bruce Banner puts, kind of eloquently says, how long is the green guy been in the driver's seat? It's like a madman taking over like an 18-wheeler. And and so now we find Bruce also even more scared to become agitated and turn into the Hulk because the Hulk was in charge for so long. It's kind of interesting. And also, like, the whole planet loves him.
Yes.
There's green stuff everywhere. It's like carnival, like in Brazil, costumes and like green powder paint, going everywhere. And he's the guy. He's the dude. Like, he's like the Maximus of this world.
As well he should be.
Yeah.
As well he should be. He's
totally
such a badass dude.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, on the issue of Hulk, I feel like I really, really, really enjoyed that they had evolved the characters of Thor and Hulk in this movie. I love the fact that they moved them along in their evolution as characters. Thor is his hammer no longer at his side. So they came up with other ways to make him powerful.
Right.
He doesn't need the hammer, and that he finds his power elsewhere, utilizes it, and is successful. The Hulk, I felt like they added dialogue to the Hulk. He made everybody laugh. I believe 1/3, if not half, of the laughs came from just just incredible dialogue coming from the Hulk. He if for those of you that haven't watched the movie yet, he's like he's kind of like a goofy kind of guy. He's not too intelligent, but the Hulk is sincere and he's truthful. Everything he says is like something like a kid would say. Like, you know how they say, okay, well, you want the truth, ask a kid. Everything he says is like truthful. It's right on, but it's through Hulk's filter, which is kind of
Mhm.
like slow, sluggish, little gumpy. His words aren't exactly, too intelligent. But I thought his character was great. We saw some emotion there.
Mhm.
We saw his attempts to connect with Valkyr and Thor. And yeah, so they made his character come alive. He wasn't just a brute in this movie. I appreciated that they had evolved this character and made him more of a character with meat to him. He's
Right.
not just a
I mean, he's already
filler.
a giant big green piece of meat, but at this point, though, it's
Yeah.
it's become. But I agree, though. It's I mean, obviously the big parallel with Hulk and Banner is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but
Right.
this Mr. Hyde is the Hulk. It's like an unstoppable force. So I mean, it's an interesting parallel, and I agree. It's fun to see a little bit more of Hulk. Have a little bit of dialogue. We can kind of understand how Hulk thinks a little bit. He's like a big baby. In a way,
Yes.
like very childlike is kind of how I saw him. Like, not
Right.
very logical, very, emotional, which makes sense. It makes sense if it's the character.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. It was fun to see it. And I'm curious too what the repercussions are going to be going forward with no hammer for Thor anymore. Part of me thought, with Doctor Strange making a cameo in this film as well, a great job by Benedict Cumberbatch, one of my favorite actors
Cool scene, by
of
the
this
way.
day. Yeah, great scene. Yeah.
Great scene. I loved it.
Yeah.
I've been falling for 30 minutes.
And it's
I laughed so hard.
it was so good. Oh man, it was so good. But since he has the time stone, the green infinity stone, would he be able to take the shards of Mjolnir, rewind time back to bring back the hammer? Is that possible?
That would be awesome.
Could that happen?
I think Marvel will just let it appear. Honestly, I think Marvel's
No, that's
and
lazy.
I agree, but like
Not
I said,
gonna happen.
I feel that it'll just in the next movie where Thor's in it,
Mhm.
he'll just be holding it in his hand like nothing happened.
No way. No.
I
There
think
has
so,
to be
yeah.
some cool nerdy way that it's got to happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, that's one way I
agree
think you
with
could
that.
legitimately
There's
do it.
gotta be.
It should be, but I don't buy it.
It's such a core element to Thor. Thor
Yeah.
he's got the hammer. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
the cool thunder powers, which were awesome. It was cool to see,
Right.
he's got more ability than just the hammer. He is the
Right.
true god of thunder. And we got to see that in this film. The dude can
Right.
wield
Amazing.
thunder. And that made me happy.
So cool.
Yeah, just go to
Awesome.
another dying star and make a new one. Pfft, no, I think that's lazy. That I hope that doesn't happen. I will be sad. But yeah. And then we also got to bid farewell to Odin in this film as well. So rest in peace, Odin, played by the fantastic Anthony Hopkins. What did you guys think of that?
I love that.
Brilliant actor, dude. He's
I knew it was
one of the
coming.
greats.
Mm-hmm. What do you guys think of his I guess his parting and going to the next life, going to I guess the Asgardian Valhalla or whatever their afterlife is, turning into mystical star beautiful dust.
He evaporates. I've actually had a problem with his rendition of Odin for the last two movies. This movie and the last movie. I listen. I am, if not the biggest fan of Anthony Hopkins. His work is brilliant. Yeah, he is. My God, does he become the character? I just feel like I don't know if he missed the mark or if the character in itself he's just weak. I feel like Odin is so much stronger, is so much more powerful, is so much more, figuratively speaking, walks with your chest out and you're proud and you're a powerful man. The ground shakes beneath your feet. And I just felt like he was a withered, old, broken man who was, since the first one, I loved him in it. That's the Odin I wanted. That's the Odin I craved.
Yeah.
I loved that Odin, strong, powerful. You defy me, then you're banished, and then boom, an explosion, powers,
Very,
lightning shooting
yeah.
everywhere, dude. That's what I loved about Odin. Yeah, people
Very
feared
Kenneth
him.
Branagh, very theater, old school theater, you know,
Oh, dude,
like a leader with presence.
Yes, and when the Frost Giants spoke of him, you know, they it's almost like they whispered his name, like he had that kind of rapport in the galaxy, in the universe, and I just felt like the last one where they came, the last movie, they came and they stormed to Asgard, and he played a little role in defending it properly, like I know he could, and you know he was weak and his wife gets killed, you know. In this one the same thing, like he's just very withered, you know. I I just felt like I wanted more from that character in this movie. Again, guys, I love Anthony Hopkins. I don't know if it's a writer's issue. I don't know if he's the brother's getting old, but
Yeah.
Odin itself, the character, I feel like there's in movies there's two things that gotta happen. One, you have to take advantage of powerful moments and scene to really drive it home and connect with the audience, and just and get a one up, a plus during that moment in a movie or a TV show. I feel the same thing with renditions of characters, that you have moments, that you have opportunities to really drive it home, in opportunities in moments in TV shows and in movies. And Odin, I feel, is not finding those moments. He's not finding those spots, those opportunities to say, here I am, here I'm Odin, I'm one of the baddest dudes in the galaxy. You hear me roar, figuratively speaking. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it did feel like one of those things where, and I do know that scene was a reshoot. Originally, I think they had the farewell and even the shattering of Mjolnir happening in New York. I think some of the original teasers for Thor Ragnarok had that happening either on Earth or in New York.
Like a homeless old man, and I was actually kind of looking forward to that because I thought it was going to be cool.
Yeah, like one of those things where it could have been a very different version of Odin, but at the same time, I appreciated the sentiment. You know, going to this like what to me either looked like Norway or Ireland or Scotland, and very Viking, you know, rooted terrain in terms of our world and what we would identify with it. But I was kind of okay with it, but I'm kind of on the same boat with you too, Spartan. I mean, I thought Odin was, you know, a fantastic leader, and it did feel, and you know, this could have been by design. He's getting very old. He's looking for a successor. He has one son that wants to rule way too much. And then he has another one that would be, at this point, he has grown and has enough experience to be a fantastic leader and doesn't want it at all because he feels like he could serve the realms better by being in it and a part of it. And so it was an interesting dynamic to where maybe his best thought was to try to still pull out the best that he can from his sons to try to get them maybe to rule together despite, you know, Loki being Loki, and maybe hoping Thor will one day take the throne of Asgard as, you know, the protector of the Nine Realms. Right. And maybe we'll see that Thor. Maybe we'll get that Thor as well. And what was also kind of ironic, and maybe it is foreshadowing that it's going to happen. During combat with Hela, Thor loses an eye.
Yes.
Which I thought was an interesting choice, and I'm curious to see the repercussions of that within the film as well. You know, with the really cool futuristic eye patch, which I think looks awesome. Like, if I was going to have an eye patch, I want an Asgardian eye patch.
Right.
It's like shiny and metal and super cool. I want that.
Badass. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Super slick.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well, that they went that route. As far as comics go, maybe Zombie can answer that. Is that something that happens in the comics, that he loses an eye?
No, it's not that I've ever seen. I've never seen a comic where Thor loses an eye.
Interesting. Yes, Paz, he loses an eye.
Did it that way. Like that they did it that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, do we need to see him battle worn?
Right.
Like that. So I'm not gonna lie, the ending scene of that movie of Thor was phenomenal. with Thor throwing the thing and Loki being like, "Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, it's not going to go through me this time. I'm actually here." I was like, "Well, whoa, are you actually going to like step up and like help and like are you guys going to like be cool now?"
Hopefully, that's what I was touching on earlier.
Like, can we just be cool now?
Yes.
Like, let's just be cool. Like,
yeah, like truly just start to work together. Because now, in a way, it's very. I've heard the parallel to Battlestar Galactica, even though I haven't seen it. But now it's very much like.
See it.
Yeah, like it's very much now Asgard they're now a nomadic people. By the end of the film, with the big fight with Hela. And now they're all contained on one ship, and they're together. And before we get to that, to kind of the ending though, what did you guys think of Hela? Played by the wonderful Kate Blanchett.
It was amazing.
I thought she was cool.
I loved her. I thought she was just great.
Yeah, most definitely, and gorgeous. Oh my God, gorgeous.
Yeah, truly.
That woman does not age. She's stunning.
Yeah, she's aged very well. She's beautiful, and she also, Lady Galadriel in Lord of the Rings as well. She has a great presence about her. It's someone that you could tell is very classically trained in theater as well as film and television. But I thought her character design was very cool, also very reminiscent of the comics as well. Especially with like her headdress and everything. But seeing how she fights, she was seriously a force to be reckoned with.
Dude,
like
yes.
You did not sleep on Hela. Like she was vicious, being able to pull like knives out of the ground, and
bro, she wipes legions out, and then her confidence radiates from her so much. She speaks with no hesitation. She gives commands with no hesitation because she understands. Listen, you're gonna comply, or it's going to be your doom. She has that clear understanding. And her first steps on Asgard, and she's making these proclamations to these people that are clearly outnumbering her, and she's speaking with such confidence. I loved it.
Yeah, exactly. And what also was kind of a fun reveal as well is we found out that maybe the history of Asgard isn't what we thought it was. It maybe wasn't all rosy and gold and wonderful. It was definitely one of those examples where history is written by the winners. And you got to see, that beautiful, mosaic, or that fresco on the ceiling just be broken down, and you see the real history of Asgard. And
it was done with blood, man.
Yeah, a lot of blood. Hela was definitely a tool for Odin. And
Right.
And so it was interesting to kind of, get, this gold gilded city is kind of also being, shown with, or done with blood as well. It's not just, it's this beautiful, benevolent ruler. It's like, no, man, Odin and Hela laid down the law.
Yes.
And, and you can kind of see, maybe Odin maybe felt, a bit of guilt or a bit of, remorse for what he did, and maybe that's why he tried to change and banished Hela for that reason. And, maybe he just felt like, I made a bit of a mistake on this one. And also, her giant puppy, the giant wolf, was also pretty sweet. Yes.
I felt that interesting that he chose to keep the painting above there instead of destroying it. He pretty much did a mural of just in front of it. He also had I thought that was just very interesting that he chose to keep that history, almost like, okay, I'll leave it there just in case, or one day it will come to light and the truth will come out. You know what I mean? He left it there. Yeah, like
some part of him knew that it was right to not wipe it away, but also felt enough guilt to try to cover it up.
Right.
So it was an interesting choice by Odin. And honestly, too, kind of made me think again with the dog, the giant wolf that she had as her pet, and this army of undead that she was able to wield. One of the funniest things I've seen Hulk do, where he's talking to Tessa Thompson, the last Valkyrie, and he's like, "You want to know who I am? he jumps out and just boom, and just ragdolls and just smacks on the Rainbow Road.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. Just such a great
Yes.
use of physical comedy and timing, and, you know, a fun way to kind of have Hulk show up, you know, that it can just be a little bit silly, which I thought was fun.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That was hysterical.
How about the since we're talking about Hela and everybody, Valkyr and Hela, how amazing were their two characters? Two strong woman actors that I felt like just made the balance of characters and the movie so well balanced in this movie. Two extremely charismatic, charming, strong woman characters. I really enjoyed that, and them two characters a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Cate Blanchett, I mean, as we were saying earlier, the woman's got a lot of gravitas, much like Anthony Hopkins and many English actors as well.
Oh, yeah.
These are people that, and even Idris Elba as well, and Tom Hiddleston, really most of this cast, you could tell have been classically trained either in theater or just from that background. You know, these people can really, like, when they're there, they command your attention just by standing there. And Cate Blanchett definitely did that as well, and so did Tessa as well. I thought Tessa Thompson as the last Valkyrie played. It was a fun story of this redemption story of just, like, you know, just really distraught from, you know, what happened to the Valkyries and what happened when they tried to fight Hela and take back Asgard, and eventually, you know, turning around and becoming like someone who is really powerful, can be relied on, and definitely I'm curious to see what place she's going to have going forward with you know, the rebuilding of Asgard. And is she going to maybe lead the rebuilding of the Valkyries? Or is she going to be, you know, still be the last Valkyrie? I'm kind of curious how that's going to go as well.
Yeah. As far as like comic book lore, I'm not sure like if there's a new Asgard that's gonna be built. I mean, Zombie, you know anything about that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I'm not as well versed in my like late Thor comics, like stuff that's out like years. I haven't read Thor in a while, but as far as I know, this is where the movies are really starting to take away from comics, at least Thor wise. I'm pretty sure once we get into like Infinity War and stuff like that, it's gonna maybe come back a little bit. But movies for me have always just like taken a few things that they liked and like, you know, rather than followed a strict line. Like Civil War, which we won't get into. While the movie was great, it wasn't what I was looking for from a Civil War movie.
Sure.
Like,
but at the same time, though, I mean, you need to give people a reason to come see it. You know, I do think that it is a good thing that they're maybe starting to cherry pick a little bit, and, you know, kind of, you know, we were talking about it earlier with you know, with the Planet Hulk storyline, and kind of taking some elements of that and being able to bring it in to another character story, or find a way to bring it in because it is such a dynamic story. And I do think that it's good that eventually now they're starting to find their own voice and be able to tell their own story. So it's not solely like, you know, super predictable. If you've read the comics, it can be kind of its own unique entity, which I think is the ultimate goal. And I'm curious to see, you know, how Infinity War is going to kind of, you know, unfold. What's that going to mean for, you know, characters as we know it, you know, the big ones like, you know, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor, Hulk, and, you know, the characters that and like Ant-Man. And I know, I'm very curious to see, because I always thought when Guardians first came out that they were going to be the bridge for Infinity War, like finally bringing that across. And then I was like, well, maybe it'll be Doctor Strange. But now it definitely does seem like, you know, Thor being the catalyst and the bridge for Loki and the first Avengers film, our first big team up. It definitely looks like Thor might be, you know, be the final catalyst and the bridge to bringing Infinity War to Earth and to the MCU as we know it.
Right.
Have you seen the leaked footage from Comic-Con?
I have not.
Like I have?
I have not.
Well, then you are correct. I'll just say that. It's Thor. Thor's gonna be the one.
Right, and it seems to be that way. Like that didn't seem like it was a big shocker. I mean, one of the post-credit scenes kind of gives you a big wink and a nudge of what's coming. And so I'm very excited for it. I mean, what, Infinity War is next year, next May or something like that, early next year.
Yeah.
So very excited for that. And then how about the Stan Lee cameo? One of the best ones. I mean, if anyone's gonna cut Thor's hair, it's got to be Stan Lee. Who else can cut the Thunder God's hair? Come on.
Crazy device in his hand. I started laughing. I'm like, oh my, he's gonna kill him.
He's
right
like,
now.
I'm a little shaky. Just hold still. It's just, it's so goofy. I loved it.
Yeah.
So good.
It's really good. Yeah, I'm glad they continue to pay homage to him and stuff like that. It's always a good thing to see him in the movies.
Mm-hmm. So, as we kind of, I guess, start to kind of wind things down a little bit here, since we've kind of gotten towards the end of the film, I personally loved the heck out of Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was, like we were saying, a fun ride, and just really, it was they added some comedy to what has been very a more serious Marvel film, or at least more like dramatic. The Thor films are very more like theater, old school theater and stuff like that. And now you have someone like Chris Hemsworth having a little bit of fun, joking around and being good at it. The dude now has a lot going for him. He's super handsome, super cut, and also funny. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. It's a dangerous combo. And, but it was fun though, to kind of see, a lot of these characters get a chance to flex a little bit and, get a chance to kind of do a little bit more and grow in terms of the breadth of their effect within the films, not just being, very, Shakespearean style characters. Like, no, they seem to fit. They've shown that their characters have been around the block a little bit. They kind of know what's going on. And also, too, before I even forget, too, the choice to destroy Asgard. The only way to beat Hela, who's drawing her power from Asgard, bring out the monster that is set to kill Asgard, and bring about Ragnarok. I thought that was kind of a fun twist.
That was amazing.
It was a major leadership decision that he had made, and it was the correct one. Saved everybody.
Mm-hmm. Knowing that he could save everybody else, but also know that he's going to destroy their home. Like, Asgard, as we know it, is gone. And then, you have the line, Asgard isn't a place, it's a people. Sure, that's awesome. But
oddly enough, it fulfills the Ragnarok prophecy of Armageddon and Asgard being destroyed. So it fulfilled it.
Yep. And so it was one of those things where it's like, cool, that's how it happens. And so I guess Hela technically has no power anymore. And I guess as far as we know, Hela's gone? Question mark?
I don't know, man. I'd like to see the body.
I know. It's one of those things where, I mean, isn't Thanos supposed to be someone who is trying to please the goddess of death? He's trying to woo her by, bringing about so much destruction. If that's kind of the case, then part of me thinks Hela might still be around.
Yeah.
In some way. I don't think we've seen the last of her just yet, if I had to be a betting man. But we'll see, though. We'll see. Zombie, any final thoughts?
I think that this was a welcome divergence from the past seriousness franchise, and it was a nice breath of fresh air for the Marvel universe. And it's kind of reminded me of what I think I liked more about the first Thor movie than the second Thor movie. I enjoyed it. It was funny, but it also had its serious moments, and it was a good time. So that's what I like about movies. If they show me a good time, I'm satisfied.
Spartan, what else? What do you got for us? Any final thoughts?
I feel that when you critique a movie properly, you have to be unbiased. And I feel that we can sit here, we can say all the positive things in the world to keep the vibes in your stream and in chat as positive as possible, but that's not what this is about. This is about truth. This is about proper critiques. So I will say this, and I probably will upset both of you, but it's fine because we're critiquing properly right
Yes.
I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
I give it a 7 out of 10. I feel like the things that you guys are saying you liked about it, I feel like this is again my opinion. I feel like it was a little bit of the weakness of the movie. I felt like it leaned too much towards a Guardians of the Galaxy movie,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like Thor Ragnarok is suffering from an identity crisis. I feel like it's not able to figure out who and what it wants to be.
Interesting.
I feel that it's going towards the 80s. This film isn't in the 80s, but it's trying to get some of those vibes, some of that look, just like Guardians of the Galaxy does. But here I think this statement right here is going to totally encompass my thought. Hela comes in. She's dark. She's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
She's strong. Very intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, Thor and Loki see her. They go, it's morphin time, and they get in their outfits. They're ready for war. At the first moment of their meeting, I mean, this lady is a badass. She goes and starts wiping people out immediately, and I'm talking about hundreds of people, killing them mercilessly.
Yeah.
Okay.
A true killing machine, living up to her name of being the goddess.
Oh
of
my
death.
gosh, yes. And it's such like I talked about, and I'm gonna talk about this in future segments. Taking the moment to get a scene and making it powerful. And the scene where she first appeared on Asgard was a powerful scene. And she went to town on everybody, cutting people down. Like you said, living up to her name, the goddess of death, bringing death, destruction. And then the next scene, 5 minutes later, we're sitting here chuckling with Thor and Hulk. Or we're laughing our ass off, da 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 da.
Right.
We're witnessing the murder of hundreds of people, if not thousands, and then we're chuckling with Thor and Hulk about silly stuff like slapstick humor is silly.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's cool. At the end, I give it a 7 because I feel the movie, in short, three letters, it was fun to watch. It was so fun to watch. It was so fun to laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that at the end of the day, I feel like Thor himself is a little bit more of a serious character. He's a powerful man. He's the god of thunder, and I just feel like they tried to. I feel like they tainted his character a little bit by making him too silly. I feel like that shouldn't be the route his character should go. I feel like kind of more Loki-ish, not Loki. I'm sorry, Odin, where he should start kind of leaning in that direction, where he's just a powerful being who knows what he wants. He's a leader. He's powerful.
Yeah.
He says it. The mountains move. People obey. He speaks. People listen.
Mm-hmm.
Lightning's in his eyes. You know what I mean? Like that.
Right.
Instead, he went clown slapstick humor.
Mm-hmm.
Scenes where he's sitting in the seat in front of Jeff and he throws his arms up, I'm the god of thunder, and everyone starts laughing in the theater. I'm just like, come on, man, you're more than that. You know what I mean? Scenes like that. I feel like at the end of the movie, that's the Thor I wanted. That's the Thor I hope he's evolving to, and the movie as well. He saves everybody. He makes that super tough decision to allow Asgard to be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
He finally fulfills what his father Odin wanted. He fully encompasses the god of thunder, becomes that, and he beats everybody up, saves the day, makes the tough decision,
Right.
and is that leader. That's what I wanted. That's what I hope continues on. But I felt like the movie was a little wishy-washy back and forth on what it was really about. Again, at the end, it was a great movie and it was fun to watch. 7 for me. I'll buy a 7 movie. I'll watch a 7 movie again.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe it was the best of the Thors, and I do believe it was I'd say top 6, top 7 of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. It's definitely, to me, it is the best Thor of the 3.
Right.
It was definitely the most entertaining story, the most engaging for me. I had the most fun, and I agree with your sentiment as well. Definitely fun to watch. Those are those are perfect 3 words for this film. And a very kingly decision he had to make. Choosing to destroy Asgard. He is leading the people. He took a throne on the ship, and he has assumed the role of the leader of Asgard with Loki by his side as a partner, not a adversary.
Right.
Which I thought was a finally like, at last, they could stop being, at odds with each other. Like Loki seems to finally have, settled in as a savior and a guardian of Asgard and the realms. And it also was one of those things too, during this film, even during the trailers, I felt like this is Marvel. I'm wondering, is this an experiment or is this a change in voice where they want to try to capitalize on the hype and the love and the positive reception of Guardians and Guardians 2 and, kind of branch that into their other heroes. And I feel like maybe this could be a test to see how that feels.
Okay.
It was received quite well. I'm curious to see what Infinity War will be like, and just kind of how things go from there. And as far as like the funny and the witty humor, or not the witty humor, but just the fun dialogue, like stuff with, with Korg and Taika is a very great comedic dialogue writer. I encourage people to go see What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for Wilder People. If you want to see his sensibilities and kind of how that, came to the Marvel movies, you'll find it there. You'll see Taika's special sauce and special seasoning that he brought to this film. And that's one thing that's been very interesting to see with the Marvel movies as well, is you could tell that there is a definite heavy hand that is guiding the story somewhere intentionally and with purpose, without much deviation. But it's almost like with TV these days, a lot of directors that are being brought in that are very big and are very known for things, you can see little elements of them, but if it's a part of like a larger standing show, it doesn't deviate too much. It's not like maybe fully their own, but they're getting to bring in some stuff that makes them unique, and that's what makes it fun. And so I definitely saw a lot of that with Taika and in this film. But it is one of those movies too. I definitely plan on buying this movie. I will definitely watch it again. It was a ton of fun.
Oh yeah.
And it is, like I was saying earlier, it's one of my top 5 Marvel films for me. I think maybe on when the next show I guess comes around, what we'll maybe do is do like top movies of 2017 that you saw, like new releases, and maybe we'll go into that discussion later.
That'd be great, being that December is right around the corner and it's the end of the year, and that'd be really cool to do that.
Yeah. And so
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and so I think that's going to kind of do us for this one. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in today for our Thor Ragnarok discussion. Before we wrap up, though, I want to give everyone a chance to kind of, talk about where we can find you if we want to interact with you more, either online or on Twitch or Twitter, wherever you guys are. Zombie, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Liza, which sounds strange, but I'll type it in chat so people know what I'm talking about. And then you can find me on Twitch at Xombigirl. I don't really do a lot of streaming, but I want to change that. So, who knows? Things might change when I have free time. I work 2 jobs, so.
Good deal.
Nice.
And Spartan, where can we find you?
Yeah, so Twitch and Twitter, and also PSN if you guys want to play some games with me. It is SpartanGod56. I was lucky enough to get it on all 3, and I also have Discord. God, I wouldn't even know how to put that, but yeah, SpartanGod56. You can find me on all 3: PSN, Twitch, and Twitter. But yeah, it's been a pleasure being here, hanging out with your community, and it's always a pleasure talking with you, Cap. You're a brilliant man.
Hey, thank you so much, dude. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And guys, if you are watching this somewhere else, if you're watching it on iTunes, or if you're listening on iTunes, or watching this on YouTube or somewhere else, because we do plan to push this out. We're going to definitely put it on as many platforms as we can, because I love movies and TV and stuff like that. And I think it'd be kind of fun to kind of help get people here and give people a chance to join in and meet some more like-minded people that like movies, TVs, and maybe even video games too. But you can find me here on twitch.tv/Captain McFly, CaptainMcFly. You can find me on Twitter at Captain McFly TV. And if you want to tune in live, feel free to find us there, and we'll post out our date for our next AV Club meeting, which we will have in December. The film is TBD. It might be somewhat of a holiday themed film. I think what we're going to try to do is honor what we said we're going to do, which is make it a film that you can either find on Netflix, Amazon, or Hulu. And then we'll, post about it there. So keep your eyes peeled in Discord or on Twitter. I'll make the announcement then. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our second episode of AV Club. We'll be jumping into our continued playthrough of Alien Isolation after this. We're going to take a short break so I can get some stuff swapped over. But again, thank you so much, Xombigirl and Spartan, for joining me this month. You guys are awesome. And
no problem.
Thanks a
for
lot, guys.
having me, man.
And we'll see you on the next one.